Okay, now that she's glossed the fuck up, we can start this video, which will not be super long. Surprise, surprise. Today's prompt, well actually week 3's prompt was to create an effigy or a drawing of your sin. I did a drawing just like last year because I realized I really enjoy drawing, even though I don't like doing it all the time, which is why my skills will remain the same, but that's fine. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what I drew up. I'm going to take it out of the plastic it's in. I obviously do that to protect it, but the glare would be ridiculous. Come on. I did that and all I could think of was Mortal Kombat. Finish her. Well, I said her, but it could be him. Anyways. This is she. And she's gorgeous. I'm actually kind of shocked that I did not create another dragon, because if you would have asked me last year, I would have said, yeah, I'm gonna make each sin a type of dragon. Last year, I created Rot, the lava hydra, which I absolutely love and adore. And I see that sin as more of a familiar now. So that's an interesting development, but you can hear all about that in the playlist that I've created for the 7 Deadly Sins. You can check that out if you want. But anyways, we're talking about her, and inspiration for the way that she looks came from a couple of different things, but to kind of give you an idea of the main like aesthetic that I was going for. I feel like my thoughts have stutters sometimes, or maybe it's like whatever. Anyways, the series of movies Species is what it's called, like Species 1, 2, 3, 4. I think they go up to 5. I don't know. And like Clive Barker's Hellraiser. So kind of those two worlds is where I feel like I pulled a lot of inspiration from to create what you see here. I really love what I created. Her hair is more of like these thick, fleshy tentacles, but they don't have like suction cups or anything like that. It's more of like feelers in a way, because they're very sensitive to everything that's around her. She was birthed from a pool of plasma, and it's not, plasma isn't liquid, it's, I guess, technically gaseous, but if you know what the 4th state of matter is, that's what I was referring to when I said plasma. I also mention it in the poem that I wrote, that I uploaded earlier this week. And by the way, I didn't get to discuss this because I just uploaded the poem. I didn't talk about it this time, but that poem is basically just me saying how I created her. It's not really like anything that rhymes, which was kind of uncomfortable for me because I'm a lot more comfortable creating poetry that rhymes. It was a bit harder for me to draw this sin because I already had part of her figured out in my mind, and I was unsure as to how I was going to be able to translate that on paper because of my artistic limits. But that's another reason why she's facing that way versus front. I felt like that was the best way to really show the part of her that I wanted to show. And I don't feel like you need to know what her lower half looks like, but it is different than like just a human anatomy. And this that you see coming out of her abdomen is not what my partner was like, is that a penis? And I was like, no, it is not. This is kind of like an umbilical cord, but it doesn't exactly function that way. But it is a big part of the way that I connect with her, if that gives you an idea. And the way that that came about was actually in the middle of performing, reflecting on it. I guess now I would call it a ritual. But I was jogging on the treadmill when this happened. And that's when I completely saw her from head to toe and I saw this part of her that hadn't been in my mind's eye previous to that. So to me, that's when I fully actually manifested her and fleshed her out completely. And that was very different than the way that I did it with the previous sin, which was more of like sitting down type of ritual. It was also planned last time, and the way that it happened while I was jogging, it was not planned. I didn't go into the jog thinking that I was going to finish constructing her, or, you know, for lack of a better word, I guess, creating her, breathing life into her. That was not the plan, but it happened because of the way that I've been working with the sin. I do try to use the sin to entice myself to complete tasks or continue to do things that I would typically not find pleasant, or things that may even cause some type of pain, which was the case in that jog. It was very much a challenge of endurance, and I did not think that I was up for the task. I ended up not only completing the minutes that I had to run, but I actually kept running for an additional 5. And to me, that was something that I simply could not believe. Leading up to that run, I actually, like days leading up to that run, because I knew that that was on the schedule, and I could talk about that in detail later, I guess, but I have this like app that tells me how much I'm supposed to run on each day that I'm supposed to run, which is about on average 3 times a week. And it was going to be not only my longest run, but like no breaks in between, and that was very intimidating for me. So before I got into my head too much about it, I hopped on the treadmill, and when it started becoming difficult, I started doing what I told myself I would do with the sin of lust. And that prompted visualization. It prompted mantras, chants. I can go into more detail of that process later on, but I don't want to make this video too long. But this was the end result, and it was beautiful. And that's all I have for y'all today. Hopefully I'll see you soon when I create my incense blend for the sin of lust. Thanks for watching.